So
Ooh, those look good. Yeah. Look at that. Look how beautiful those are. Today, we're gonna be making grilled local elk with these beautiful local harvested elderberries just picked today for us. We're gonna be making a sauce out of this with my dear friend Bobbie Mollenberg, my former sous chef, who's gonna be teaching us all about the native foods from this beautiful land. All right, let's go. Local food and culture is something that's really important to me, and I would consider that one of the foundational pillars of food. Having an understanding of what it is and tasting it and working with it and cooking it and celebrating it. The land that I'm on right now belongs to the Colville Confederated Tribes. Today, the practice is learning about the foods from this area and from this land to create a beautiful meal. And I think when you do that, you really get a sense of place. And for me, when I have a sense of place, it grounds me. Every part of my life, of all of our lives, food touches. I'm Chef Maria Hines, and on the show, we're going to explore how to make food taste mind-blowingly delicious, nutrition, celebrating the great outdoors, the impact that food has on the planet, our bodies, and our communities. We're gonna go on this journey together. We're gonna learn, we're gonna cook, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. All right, so here we are. We're here with my good friend, Bobbi. Bobbi and I started working together a long time ago in commercial kitchens. And this is her land that we're on. And Bobbi, can you tell me a little bit about where are you from? Who are your people?
I'm a proud member of the Colville Confederated Tribes, and when we talk about Confederated Tribes, we are a band of 12 different entities of tribes that were put on one reservation, and we have 1.4 million acres to our reservation currently today.
This area that we're in is Kettle Falls. This is the area that we're going to be talking about native foods and what lives here and what is hunted here and what is gathered here. So I see that you've already done a little bit of gathering. What you got going on over here? What's happening?
Just cleaning up a little bit of elderberries that I picked this morning.
Look at that. Aren't those beautiful? Look at all that blush little color on there. And then they have this nice inky purple. And then the green flesh that she's talking about. It's just amazing. What are we gonna cook tonight?
Tonight we're gonna cook a little bit of some elk roast. And we're gonna make an elderberry sauce to go over it. And we're gonna put it into a little bed of farro.
Oh, that sounds amazing. We're gonna go cook this beautiful dish, indigenous foods coming right from this land right now. Let's go. All right, hey y'all, how you doing? Here we are, we're finally in the kitchen. Bobbi and I's favorite place to be. It's our happy place.
So happy. I just can't help but be happy looking around at all of this and seeing all this wonderful food we're about to cook. I'm really excited.
And so here we go. We have the elderberries. We have some beautiful elk steak here, and we're gonna grill these off. Check that out, check it out. Aren't those gorgeous? Look at that. Look how fresh that meat is. Okay, Bobbi, take it away. What do you wanna start with?
Well, we're gonna start here with a little bit of sauce and get that ready. That's probably gonna take the longest for us. And so we're gonna play with elderberry and blackberry. As you can see, this is I picked these this morning, and this is what it looks like when you pick them. And that's just kind of a nature's protection for not only the berries, but kind of when you're looking at it coming off the tree, it's something that camouflages it to almost seeing that it's not there. And then when you clean it up, I mean, they're just gorgeous. And I want to put them in my mouth right now.
Yeah. Did you just rinse them, or how did you get them? Because they look so completely different. So you took it off the stem, and then what's the process from there?
We had them come off the stem, and then from there I just took some warm running water and just gave them this light agitation to be able to get some of that camo and that sediment to just come up and come off.
And so today you're gonna use elderberries. What else you got going on here?
So some ginger that I cleaned up here a little bit. And again, great for your immune system. And then as well, a little bit of fresh turmeric we're gonna put in there and play with. And that's also just something that helps with more inflammation, and just being in this cold weather kind of helps your joints soothe a little bit more, and it kind of just helps you feel a little bit more normal in your body in the wintertime. And then as well, we're gonna have a little bit of black garlic in there.
Oh, I
And
love
so,
black garlic.
yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite things to play with, but it gives it it's already going to be at a sweet property, but it gives it that kind of natural balance and just kind of helps it just marry into these natural flavors that we're going to be playing with fall.
Ah, I love it. I love it, and so delicious.
These are a lot of things that we're used to seeing, around here as Native people, and these are things that we definitely go foraging for, and it just grows so naturally and wild around here that it's a harmony. That's usually what you see right next to each other. You see next to the tree, you see, an elk hanging out, or you see a deer hanging out. So, yeah. All right, well, we can start with the sauce.
Okay, great.
And so this here is just a little bit of blackberries, and this is just more of a filler. They kind of have a really good marriage going on when these two hang out.
And Bobbi, while you're doing that, I'll just season these steaks up. You're saying you had this really beautiful mixture that you had put together here. It's sage and...
2 parts of sage, rubbing sage, and then it's about 1 part of thyme, dried thyme, as well as some dried chopped rosemary. Again, these are all a lot of things that they grow together, and not only do they grow together, they go together. And so being able to take some of this and marrying it with some of our sauces and having it in with our meat here, like those are all just gonna be flavors that literally is this beautiful circle in life, right? This elk sacrificed for us to eat right now. But before it did that, it stopped at the land, and it had plenty of seasons for elderberries. It had plenty of seasons to run through the sage. And so it's just being able to see that harmony that comes together, that these animals and these plants have sacrificed, so that we get to show everybody how to make this beautiful meal. Each family kind of knows their direction when it comes to seasons, when it comes to being able to know the season to be able to harvest, as well as being able to be mindful of what season we are when we want to go hunting.
We do still hunt all over our traditional territories. There's areas in BC that our families have always gathered in and continue to. And we have a lot of people that I would consider to be like traditional hunters for the people on the reservation, and so I do that. And my family spends a lot of time in the forest.
So each one of the foods a long time ago would have a song that was connected to it. There were prayers that you made, there were offerings that you made, and people couldn't go out and gather until those ceremonies were done. And at the end of it, it was always about a relationship, the relationship that we as Skellig, have with the Skelch.
When a person goes out and they're hunting, they're doing it with a good spirit and they're doing it with a good heart, honoring the animal that gave itself for the people, basically. We can taste the goodness of good feelings and love put into food.
Everything here is it's hyper local, and it's so beautiful that you can taste, like in the meat, you can actually taste the flavors of these berries and the sage, and then to complement it, her making a sauce with the berries and the sage. So I'm really excited. So what do you have going on here, Bobbi?
I'm just getting these berries all mixed up together, and I threw in a little bit of the sage stem. And so I have the sage stem going here. I'm gonna take some of this ginger and some of the turmeric and black garlic and continue making a delicious sauce. When I get ready and I'm done with this sauce, I wanna be able to just pick these out whole. They're gonna help flavor things, but they're not gonna be something that we keep in there when we're getting ready to finally eat and have our dish. And again, it's just like a really good rough chop. And so that's just to open it up and be able to get those oils working and into the sauce like we want them to.
The way Bobbi is cooking right now and using food as medicine, all of this it becomes the most bioavailable, to your body. When you're having it in food as opposed to just having it as a supplement, eating it like this, it just becomes readily available for your system. So it's actually the very best way to have these anti-inflammatory foods and to have these like antioxidants and immune boosting foods and stuff. Is getting it in whole foods is the best way to actually do it. And so I'm seasoning up these elk steaks right now, so it can take a couple of minutes for the seasoning to actually soak through the meat. And I didn't pull it directly out of the fridge. The elk steaks have been out for about, maybe 5-10 minutes. So it's just slightly warmer. And it being just slightly warmer allows the salt and the beautiful seasoning mixture that Bobbi put together, it allows it to all kind of really soak into the meat before it goes on the grill.
Yeah, so working with the sauce, I'm gonna treat it a little bit more like a gastrique. Gastrique is just a big fancy word of kind of saying, sweet and sour. That's how I always think of it.
Yeah.
And so I added a little bit of brown sugar. I like brown sugar, but some people prefer honey. So I got this going, and it has a sound happening. It has all these agitating bubbles, and you can start seeing a lot of this break down, and a lot of these colors that we saw earlier really start marrying into each other. So we're just looking for some of this liquid to really kind of cook off. So I'm gonna let this roll probably for no longer than 10 minutes on a hard boil. From there, I'm gonna kick it down to a medium simmer.
Over here on the grill, I'm just gonna season it up here. A little bit of olive oil here, and we're just gonna rub it down. And the grill is on right now, so also the grill will be nice and hot before we put the steaks on. Just like if you were searing it in a pan, you wanna make sure your pan is nice and hot. So what I also like to do for the seasoning process is to just take a little bit of salt and then put it on the grill as well. These steaks are probably gonna take 6 to 8 minutes to cook on the grill, and then it needs about 3 to 5 minutes to rest. So for the recipe that Bobbi is gonna share with us will be the elk steak along with the elderberry sauce, but it's fall, so she wanted to cook up some squash and some farro coming from the Meadow Valley to kind of round out the meal today. All right. So tell me what you love about farro.
The way it absorbs flavor and the texture that it has.
Yeah,
and
nice and toothy and meaty.
Yeah,
it's almost
just
like
right.
ground beef almost.
It's just hearty enough, and so.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll get this on the
I think
fire
from there
here.
we can fire up and we can start moving into these steaks. I can't look at them any longer. They just look too delicious.
So this is nice and hot. I could feel the heat coming right off of it. So that's the sound you want to hear. When you put a piece of protein on the grill, like that's exactly the sound you want to hear. That means it's nice and hot. And so I'm laying it down in a diagonal direction there, so that way we can, you see those fancy looking diamonds on the steak, that nice like crosshatch. So that's what we're looking for. And how you do that is you have the vertical grade, and then you just take your meat and you lay it down in a diagonal fashion there. And then you'll see, like, once it gets, after a couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and turn it the other way, and you get that beautiful crosshatch. And as Bobbi was saying, this animal has given its life in order to sustain our life. So we want to make sure that we treat it with as much respect as we possibly can. So we talked about some of the gathering in this area, and we talked about some of the game in this area, the bounty of the land. What about the bounty of this big, beautiful Columbia River that we have? What's coming out of there?
This big, beautiful Columbia River has so much to give. But we've been battling and struggling with it, from dealing with dams and not having fish ladders. We've been dealing with chemical properties that have been coming down from another unnatural source just north of the border here. And those are all things that we have to be mindful of, not only as just Native Americans and being a part of this land, but just anyone concerned to help and wanting to be a part of being mindful of wanting to go fishing, wanting to be out on the water, whether it's boating or being in your canoe.
So Bobbi took me out on this canoe the other day, and the canoe was hand dug out by her and her people of this beautiful cedar log that was gifted to them. There was something about like being on that water and being with that water element, but yet being like nestled by land, like you're literally inside a cedar tree. It was just so cool.
Yeah,
it was really beautiful. And hearing you all sing and like chant, it was just incredible.
Yeah, no, and the same thing when we go, we have these moments where I'm just so enamored by nature. and just feel so connected. But then, you know, we poke around and we have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs.
Oh, I love it. Well, I think these steaks are getting close.
Yeah,
How
no,
are we
I'm
doing
gonna
over
chop
there?
some herbs and and I'll start picking out some of the goodies in here. And I am feeling really good about this, and my mouth is watering. That's how great I feel about it.
So I just took the lid off. These steaks are good to go. They're right at a good medium rare medium. And so I'm gonna pull these off now, and I'm gonna let them rest. A little pro tip on your grill, because, you know, you get done cooking on your grill and you end up having a bit of a mess. The easiest way to clean it is to leave the heat on and just put the lid back on it for a minute, and then all of this stuff right here, it'll just kind of burn and peel off nice and easy. If you wait until the morning and you let it cool down, you're in for an awful time of cleaning.
I've got sauce going over here and it's looking really beautiful. I just chopped up a little bit of the fresh herbs. I'm gonna start picking out some of those fun things that we put in there, and then as well, I reserved a little bit of the fresh just as a finish and be able to help kind of give a little bit more of an offset for it. I have some of the stems in here, and I have some bay leaf in here, and as well the turmeric and the thyme that I put in here. We have a little bit of that sweet, you know, putting in some of the sugar or honey, and then just a pinch of salt. And so with that, I have this great, beautiful consistency happening. That's what we're looking for, a little bit more in the consistency. And if you want to get technical, then you can just look at the back of your spoon and see if it's a little nappe.
Yeah, it just coats the back of the spoon.
You see a little bit where it sticks, it doesn't move.
So there you go, it should hold a line, just like that.
Sexy.
Well, these steaks are nice and rested, so I'm gonna slice them up. You know, a lot of times if you have a tough piece of meat, very often it isn't the meat itself. It can be because it is cut with the grain instead of against the grain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and kind of look and see if I can find where that grain is. Right here, you can see, check this out, whoop. Which way is that grain running? You can see it. You see those lines there? So we're gonna cut against those lines, okay?
Looks so good, looks so good.
Such beautiful meat. We don't wanna waste it. We wanna treat it with the ultimate care and respect.
Are we gonna hit those with a little bit of finishing salt?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking my language. So what do you have going on here, Bobby?
I'm just getting together some of our farro and a little bit of squash.
Okay.
And as well putting together a little bit of this venison so we can see just how delicious it is.
All right.
Yeah, so.
Whoa, those look good.
Yeah, I think we have a good little surprise happening right here.
Oh, wonderful.
And I just don't even know how to honor fall much better than this right here. Not only the fall, but just the sacrifices made to have such a beautiful dish right here. And I love that so much because, you know, being able to do this, wow. This is what I want to do, and being able to show that as a Native person, as a Native woman, that we can grow, we can become better.
That's right. Look at that. Look how beautiful those are. To have everything from your meal be like hunted and gathered, and taking that mindset and that intention and literally just being on the land and gathering it and then cooking it right there on the land and then sharing it with the people from that land is really, really special.
This is exactly what we need. We need this harmony with not just tribal members, but we need it all around. We need everyone putting in their effort to restore our land and restore it back to the point where our foods aren't running low on supply, aren't drying out faster, that our waters are safe to have salmon to come through. We need that restoration within our community, and to create this harmony between differences with culture or tribes, or even just all people, Skeleu in general, and not having that division between us.
As a human race, we need to get back to that, and we need to get back in touch with that, and that connection that the food is connected to the land, it's connected to our ancestors, like everything is all one. Hearing these stories and knowing that it's still a practice, you know, and it's still happening. I wish these experiences for everyone.
Okay, so we
right.
have some farro dish here with some delicata squash, as well as our elderberry and blackberry sauce with some elk steaks.
All coming from this land. Let's taste this.
Can't wait. Ooh.
That is a really good bite. I need a knife fresh. I love this dish. You have like the sweet and the sour coming from the sauce and the tartness from the berries and like all that earthiness coming from the ancient grain, the farro, and the earthiness and the sweetness coming from the squash and that nice like irony flavor of the meat. It's just so beautifully, beautifully balanced. Thank you so much for putting this together.
I know, it's so delicious.
So delicious. I love it. I love it. Hey, thanks y'all for watching. If you like what you're seeing today, please hit the like and subscribe and give us a little feedback. Take care. Hey, Okay, sorry.